Welcome everybody, I know it's been a long time since I last recorded. I had a bunch of stuff going on in March. We're gonna finish up the last video for Alice Returns by checking out all of the extras in the Unlockable. First we'll start with characters. There are a total of 74 apparently. Dr. Angus Bumpy, founder of the Houndstitch Home and for Wayward Youth, is my landlord, employer, therapist, rising star in the philanthropic community. He serves the East End's vast, deprived juvenile population. His mantra is, I'm willing to work against poverty, misery, and degradation by training my unfortunate patients to forget their past. While modesty is not among his attributes, he does important. Chris Whitleys. Before being sent from religious asylum, she was the night nurse on my ward. She secretly imagines we're friends on that account. Her addiction to gin has forced her to go in dog's body for a variety of East End practitioners. No errand is too menial beneath her dignity. Her wages can't support the need to be constantly inebriated. Not sure if she supplements her income, but I'd rather not think about it. Insidious ruin. One. A natural and hostile combination of ruin, mechanical parts, vomits, pollution, and slashes through the expensive, mindless industrial disease that uses grease and organic slime and was a dangerous weapon. Its unseemly sound, noisome stench, completes its menacing or awful hits, adds to its revolting appearance. Ew, the butterflies. My password fauna and the Hatterston reasonable wing crossbow bolts. They nest in the narrow machinery of which they're very protective. They became fractious when disturbed, and for dumb creatures they're annoyingly resourceful. Madcaps. The erstwhile guardians of the domain appear to be armed with outsized versions of Hatter's household cutlery. Hatters never particularly used her name in his guest list, but I never imagined he had giants for tea. Like many longtime players, their loyalty is that less of their usefulness than their sense. Still, the old guard can be dangerous. Slithering ruin. Ruined and repulsive is right. Most waste of protoplasm is much in common with maggots and leeches that the tiny garden fleas. Secreted by nature, surprisingly aggressive and what? These ornately crafted beasts, once the pride of the Hatter's stables, seem destined for scrap. Understandably, they're sturdy, insatiable, bloody, angry, and dangerous. Because the eye is obviously vulnerable, they fire scalding projectiles far, but they are not cowards. Menacing. A more perilous version is Insidious Ruin. Every vile and depraved feature of the former has evolved to become more loathsome, foul, and hazardous than the latter. Who could have imagined it? Cheshire Cat. I suppose I could admit that he's my alter ego, perfectly willing to give voice to the job seekers and unable to express. He usually not courageous enough to demand a terribly rash risk of me. If I turn cynical, sarcastic, distant, philosophical, flip, and earnest, he can render valuable service lies he can I know he means to help me, but he is, after all, a cat, and they're not for altruism. The White Rabbit. To say I followed this demanding creature anywhere might be a romantic exaggeration when you have a history and the list of places he's led me, as long as the outcomes have not always been happy. Frantic, hairy creatures making occasionally aggressive, such as the Queen of Hearts is my unattractive cousin. Well, let's say ugly and move on. She once behaved rudely to me and I had to turn her around as it were. Now our caring existence feels threatening. I prefer her old self. And then I knew what I was dealing with. Mad Hatter. Once there was always time for you at the Hatter's place. In fact, they were all in good fun. Things turned bad when he joined the Queen's service, received serious reprimand, and learned an worse physique as imparts in his tragic mechanical efficiency and supple wreckage. Despite his he's still a bit of a blowhard, but not evil, I think. Armchair. The Hatter's erstwhile tea-time companion has somehow turned the tables on his former host. The Hatter is mad, of course, but he's not a lunatic, at least I don't think so, despite his menacing caliber. He just seems unnaturally fixated on keeping the Hatter down and making himself a blade nuisance to me. Dormouse. Dormy is still sleepy, cynical, and stupid, and marking it to the chair. Imagine how far down the page you must fall before scurrying at his position. I say his name rolls the trouble onto his head, but that would presume he had a brain. Well, what are these? First, there's one's points concerning incandescent lighting signal and the intermittent air for gas lamps and candles, frightening and insupportable prospect. Automaton. Hardly more interesting than a cuckoo and a clock, let alone a palace or a Pandora, but then I'm not hypnotized. This cat slowly familiar reminded me of Snowdrop, Dinah's rambunctious kitten. I try not to think about her, she being an old lady now. She's alive. Dark Snail. His degraded valve was overwhelmed with disgusting creatures side to dismiss the spiky cephalopod. He feeds on his own regurgitated bile. Gross. Dodo Man. As if the creature hadn't suffered enough, I imagined the steep bird knitted out like others on the hair's mat and mechanized realm. Footman. His appearance form and intelligence modest was not required for this venture. He's still a good frog. Mock Sparrow. Mock Turtle regarded this creature as a threat. He is so low self it would have been cruel to bring this bird to the mix. Snail, this benign being must keep me company in the Vale of Tears, but the changes there would not have been to his liking. Dodo. Pigs, humans, rodents, marquees, all prove the distinction of the dodo on its native Mauritius. Very strange bird was once considered a myth, but Clark's reports justify Poe's belief that someone or something slated to go the way of the dodo was more than a rhetorical force. Nan Sharp, artist essential and independent woman, Nanny taught French music to Lizzie and disastrous torches and companionship, Henry and iron hearts and spread led her to a like not quite squalid prostitution. From her digs at the mangled mermaid, she manages a string of professional women on the street she visits me several times a revenge. Jack Splatter. A bullying, bad-tempered, congenital criminal, he's built a heinous career on the labor of desperate women. Once Nan Sharp's procurer and self-appointed protector, he runs his sordid trade out of the mangled mermaid. Sightless eyes do not inhibit the vile predator from within the tundra, living flesh is no less at risk than carrion. While his parts seem mismatched, his intent to provide protection his teeth are particularly efficient. Shipwreck shark. Sailors are rightfully terrified by sharks. The voracious apex predators notorious for their unpredictable temperaments and indiscriminate appetites, but only would if it could would fear these creatures. Self-made from ruined privateers, cultures, and ships of the line, they consume wood to keep body and soul together. I wish they eat one another. What is that? Mersewood. Hespelically crafted figure, its mute with proud emblems that once graced the ship creatures prow are furious with their sunken fate. Rather than suffer silence, they wail their own siren songs and bring down other ships, anchors, chains, other ballasts they've collected. Cannon crab, well armed with great size and purpose, and still declared honorable mission. This notable crustacean is a formidable foe, one may only hope it has a soft underbelly. Ground sailor, poor souls are internally conflicting necessities and see the kind of doings in them, but they do not properly relate sound on the 2-year voyage they're Shanghai. Complain about everything, they're lashed to put on short rations, they're even discouraged from learning how to swim. They trust none but themselves, their shades do likewise. Colossal Room. An infinitely more powerful and undeniably more disgusting manifestation of the Mystic Room. What was formerly foul and detestable, heinous, even monstrous here, but ruin seems for it just keeps getting worse. Yeah. Mokhtar, the former master of the railroad, is kind but self-absorbed, weeping fatalistic, while the mechanic disposition he feels kind of. He's not clever, but thinks he might be if he could just summon up the energy to try. Carpenter, the distinguished master of the Malaprop Lexus Scintilla of skill in his ingenious trade, wouldn't know a hammer from a handsaw, appears to have acquainted himself with the theoretical universe, doing such as I don't expect there was much resistance. Orders. The observation is the Joes, he's not missed a meal in his life. Pigs at a trough and more dignity, a big, hungry creature with nothing on his mind, except his outsized opportunity to self-proclaim reputation as a great thespian. Fish couple. Keeping children amused is a priority of intelligent parents the world over, lucky children. But these two have no more on their minds than the family in return. They're at odds in the opinions of the carpenter's characteristic creation as a role in protecting them from corruption, I suppose, will often test their credibility. Octopus. The carpenter sent me to collect the script from the Glaswegian Lush. He's angry about something, but not nasty, ever fond of his own opinion, but a distant sense of play with some outstanding physical skills despite the things that frustrate with music fish. Divas from Covent Garden to La Scala have tutors before a performance express his vital and satisfiable needs. They're frequently excuse things going badly. By such, the talent tries to isolate itself from failure, which is much more often imagined than real. No excuse, however, but the collective condemnation deserved for this home death countless times for future form. Oyster Starlet. Without script, this perilous theatrical dance must rely on mingled cliches as substitute for simple speech. Actors seem to often forget how to speak spontaneously in their own voices. Mayor. And that was the mayor? Like many discredited, discarded politicians, the mayor seems sufficiently believed that he refuses that rejection is a sign of rejection. I know that denial is a dangerous thing. I don't always behave as if I know. I didn't know that. Minor. Turtles just. Sometimes the treasures you seek are just out of reach, being aggressive. They have a mind of their own. Yeti. Despite grand and self-serving claims to being the embodiment of restrained brutality and restrained fear, this poor fellow never even rose to the level of criminal. Piranha. Papa's copy of Henry Bates' Amazon Adventures Fog Beard not found that the illustrations look on the scale of voracious man-eaters imagine. Wilton Radcliffe, QC. Formerly Oxford Magistrate and my father's solicitor, is an executor of our family estate, most of which he claims was consumed by my treatment at religious asylum. The Knockford confirmed bachelor Radcliffe's parents often foreign office postings in Tokyo, Shanghai, perished in the Sepoy Rebellion. He keeps mementos of their lives in the Orient. His blessings secreted by a little idea what he might be trying to conceal. Mute. This mute has sufficiently melancholic face and disposition to see any general, but his profession pointed me in unproductive directions. I need to ignore him. Samurai wasps. Scavengers, despoilers, and murderers. These self-proclaimed samurai have corrupted, willingness, and defenseless origami ants way of life. It's a cruel lie. They violated the philosophy of that noble warrior class, Bushido. They're merely expert killers. They're expropriated the weapons of their namesake sword children long ago. Unlike true samurai, they protect nothing, are loyal to nothing, and have no honor. Samurai ink wasp. While not typically clever, strong, or dangerous, they're so seemingly endless supply of soldiers available to support the samurai. They remind me of the grubs. They're unpleasant. Like line chop. Though nearly immobile, however, this creature's signature maneuver is quite enough to terrify our maniac. He uses a healthy fear of fire as an additional weapon. Daimyo wasp. Though each of the samurai wasps appear to act on their own authority, some fraction of them seem to be of higher rank. More skill with their weapons may give them higher standing in their deceased society. They may give orders to the others. They are, of course, equally reprehensible, perhaps more so. Another error in this, the abomination's bulging foot remedy, whose faster is bigger and it can fly. What's next? Impregnability? Immortality? Who dreamed this up? Caterpillar. Despite its questionable habits, designed congenial of eyes, a stern, prickly manner, and aura of portentous mystery, the wise creature is my personal, directly communicative Delphic oracle. It's not always easy to guess what it means. Hey, the origamians. They share labor and price communication. They are socially sophisticated, resourceful, and industrious, but their society's very existence is dependent on the kindness of strangers. Their social class is virtually useless against hostile strangers. The infinite must make careful bargains. Origami Elder. Knowledge gathered from experience is often insufficient to forestall tragic consequences. These elders seem to know what must be done to avert disaster, but they are unable to do it. Origami Atma. These societies properly value their contemplative artistic architecture members' action with nearly any description with nearly any outcome is disproportionately valued even by them. Hey, hunting. Well, he did sit on a wall and he fell off, etc. Fancied himself some kind of authority figure, but acted more like a security guard at market stall, and in fact insecure as well. We didn't even see him. I don't think we saw the Empress wasp ever. She who must be obeyed and continuously fed, evidently, all these so-called samurai service and sacrifice so she can dine sumptuously. Royalty shares some common traits irrespective of species. Oriental frog, quite possibly the largest frog I've ever seen, although maybe that was because I was trying to color smoke. Saw his indigestion nearly giving up the stomach as well. Fred the cop, typical Bobby by the book, What's all this then? Nonsense, not vicious, not cruel, just not very imaginative or sympathetic. I suppose I don't encourage much. Hard guard. Without weapons, the Green's reckless guards aren't much more than tolerant of fight. They were never really good with their hands, but the current ballot clawing demands caution. There are so many of them, and they're eager to give up their lives, even dead. Their corporate delectee and remains can cause a problem. Armored guards. The wicked staff they carry makes them dangerous with hunters. Still, were their weapon to hit his target, they wouldn't need speed to deliver victories. Ah, the executioner. With less intelligence and imagination than wind up for this route does the bidding of the pointer. Creature is hardest out. Fate is certain to fall hard when he falls. But until then, he's so much more than a white king. Amiable, courageous, a bit befuddled, a bit pedantic, loyal, not especially competent, reminds me of Papa. Queen of Hearts. After numerous challenges and defeats, she still shows an ungovernable passion, a blind and aimless fury. She's still a force in Wonderland, even though her desires for unquestioned authority and adherence to her rules have been defeated. She is still pure, mad, irrational, and responsible for her. But she's part of me too, and not destructible for cause. Papa's chessmen were nearly prince to a solitary child, radical of outsized and green, servile pieces boys. A pleasant memory. Dr. Wilson had a reputation as capable and innovative. Decisions with me, his questions always seemed intrusive, his prying ill-conceived, his practice dubious at best. I don't think he meant me harm, I was just a great disappointment to him. Nurse Cratch. Feeble-minded, mean-spirited toady, like many of her ilk, barely saved her in clean bed pans and mopping up vomit. She was no friend to me. Orderly Tweedles. The superintendent's repulsive nephews are cruel by disposition and trained. Like all bullies, they are potentially dangerous, especially they are dumb as rocks. The female of the species, so to speak, is equally objectionable, but the depraved maker played no favors. Her voluminous clothing appears to conceal more than her body would demand. Bitch babies. Constantly construct a flying, vomiting, killing machine as disguised the four-legged female unit certainly the proof of the diseased mind, more proof of the dollmaker. This heinous criminal assumed the benign title of a decent craftsman to deceive the world and perhaps himself. The lie must be exposed. The truth will out, or I will perish. Insane children. Once those tools of my nemesis, these mistreated, insulting, and long-suffering juveniles have lost sight and all hope of return to normal. I know them better than I like, and not as well as I should. Seen child leader. The metaphor has it right that in the kingdom of the blind, the one-eyed kings are certainly an analog among the insane children, though whether their king is assumed per role by virtue of being less insane is debatable. Soldiers. It's hardly surprising this fellow confessed mystery shown himself timid, aware, and unfit for any duty more expecting them watching smoke rise. No, baby. Not surprisingly, the sherry built knelt together in malevolent automatron masquerading as the child of at least every mother's vice admonition. Her injunction don't play with scissors will fall into first kidney. He cares nothing for sense, he doesn't have any of that either. I wish I had a camera. Dog baby. You didn't see these either. This grotesque aberration of nature seemed to have already been infested before I arrived. Press turned on and made a mockery of it by its fellow abominations. A tragedy that such lovely years should be wasted on such foolishness. Dr. Angus Bumby. And we went through all of them. So there were some characters and stuff that we didn't see. Yep. Alright. Theatricals. I don't know what these are. These might just be the... Are these just the...
Come now, Alice. It's only a dream.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so these are just the theatricals. We've already seen all this. Alice's history, past matters. Nice to try to pin the casebook of Hieronymus Q. Wilson, MD, Rutledge son. On November 5th, 1863, Alice Liddell was severely burned in the fire that destroyed her family home in Oxford and took the lives of her parents and her older sister, Lizzie. While the girl's skin gradually healed during a year of hospitalization, the trauma caused by her family's horrific demise deepened. The orphan's condition spun from comatose to uncontrollably hysterical and back in the course of a given hour. Learned medical opinion deemed her a danger to herself and an indefinite permanent institutional confinement disorder. At her preliminary examination at Rutledge on November 11, 1864, Alice presented as deaf, dumb, and blind to stimulation. She seemed in the brutal expression of the practice training for the coffin. Only her age saved her from immediate assignment to the notorious Bedlam catacombs. Despite his sensible passivity, free natural kindness, and evident dementia, course of treatment suggested. During the first 6 months of 1865, she was subjected to all the best contemporary remedies without result. Cold plaster sessions and bloodletting were ineffective and unproductive. Applications of experimental shock apparatus useless, likewise doses of laudanum. And desperate calls for restraints, including the straitjacket, solitary confinement, sensory deprivation, confiscation of her toy rabbit, and cancellation of afternoon tea were tried and failed completely. She would not respond. She did not resist treatment or in any way react to it. She simply ignored it. She shut down completely and shut off the world. Shortly after the diagnosis, dementia was confirmed. She fell into a comatose state. Despite her mental infirmity, she appeared physically fit. Staff remained hopeful, not to say optimistic, that she would regain her balance. Her bodily functions were reasonably tended to, but there were pitifully few signs of recovery. At the end of autumn 1873, after 8 years of fitful sleep, Alice spoke by drawing. Her procedure was of an alarming cat. Only bouts of angry, incomprehensible screaming and hysterical sobbing following this dubious and communication. She began intermittently convulsed and had to be sedated frequently. From time to time, various medicinal preparations, chemical potions were forcibly administered to little effect, and she required more than verbal encouragement to eat. Something that looked like progress occurred in late November of that year. Oh, something that did look like progress. While her intricately muttering screams continued, she responded, if not appropriately, at least comprehensively, to her surroundings. When grossly insulted by a ward orderly student's imbecility, as warning scared off one of the twins with her furious text, she uttered a scream like an and made the other bleed like a stuck pig. Then she turned the makeshift weapon on her own wrist. Fortunately, staff prevented her from doing terrible physical damage to herself. But she regressed to her previous state, days silence, sometimes sketching fantastical scenes, characters spreading senseless poetry, then incomprehensible raving, catatonic trances, and anticipated shouts and grunts. Suddenly, in spring of this year, there was a change. She began to speak. Civil and vulgar, declarative and cryptic speech, in and out of her chaotic, violent, deranged, and terrifying treatment. The periods of lucidity grew longer. She became confidential. She shared some of her sadness, her grief over the loss of her family, and herself. Most often, she droned on and on with about fantastical visions. These solutions had no reality, of course, but conversation makes a connection with the world. There was significant development. Cognate, but often disconnected and didn't meaningless. Talk about Wonderland, T-Wires, the fungivorous forest, Bajunes, Jack Bombs, Snarks, Demon Dice, and Dastardly Red Queen was not most encouraging. Our moods ran the gamut from despondent gloom to vicious anger to confident calm. This was how the emergence of a normal Alice that cured Alice was not to be. Throughout the summer and into the autumn, she seemed to vacillate between fantasy and reality. By October, my own health failing, I recognized I had done everything I was capable of doing for her. After effective treatment, I addressed her physical condition with a full array of our age's therapies. She had emerged from her catatonia, but we didn't know why. I once thought the drug regimen had been effective. Now I vigorously doubt it. Reunification with her childhood toy. Turns out that rabbit was now standing in for the original, which was 3 years ago. Something I said, she got nothing at my command. Instruction intrigued her request, and since she's cured, she, I believe, cured herself. As she appeared more or less stable, they were plagued by hallucinations that frustrated more than frightened her. I succumbed to the superintendent's entreaties. I spared her the cure. She didn't drop for further confinement, seemed a waste of everyone's time. Liking family friends but possessed of a small inheritance, she left religion in November, depressed but committed to the struggle for her sanity. I was witless found her a situation with Dr. Bundy and Alice was released to his care at the Houndish Home, a refuge for wayward youth in the East End. I wish them both well. Troubling visions. So these are the concept art. What concept art? That's how our castle originally looked. Hmm. Wow, she's got really long arms. The dollhouse, the doll maker, infernal tree. Alright. That we have officially done everything. We've seen all the extras. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you aren't already. I'll see you all and whatever I decide to play next. Have a nice day, everybody.